Mixed mode courses have in-person tutorials and labs, and also online videos that you can watch which replace the in-person lectures. When I first started doing mixed mode, I was worried that I'd have trouble motivating myself, especially to watch the online lectures since they aren't in person. But as the semester went on, I found it actually quite straightforward to access all the resources I need, and I found that it was really a convenient way to study. My favourite parts about studying mixed mode was the reduced contact hours and the ability to also watch the lectures during a time period which suited me, instead of having to wait each week for the lectures to occur. My weekly routine was quite intensive. I would be in the 24-hour study lounge 7 days a week, and I normally get in at about 6 a.m. and I'd stay until the evening. And that was just because I was aiming to get all 7s for my courses. But any student who wants to learn the content, as long as they put in the work and such, they don't have to put in that many hours. It just depends what the benchmark you're setting for yourself is. For the intensive mixed mode, because the content was delivered in half the normal time period, it definitely was a lot tougher than normal mode courses. But the way I approached it was, because the majority of the lecture content was posted online from the beginning of the semester, I was able to watch a lot of it ahead of time, and I tried to keep at least a week ahead of the modules so that when I went to class I was able to make the most of my time there, especially because of the limited contact hours as well. One of the major challenges I found with the mixed mode courses, and particularly with the intensive courses, was the time management aspect. Because everything is given in such a condensed way, it can be a lot harder to get through the volume of content. But it's definitely helped me going back into normal mode courses this year, because by comparison it's quite easy to keep on top of things now that I've gotten used to that high level of organisation. And another thing that I learnt from the mixed mode and intensive courses was not to be scared to approach my lecturers and course conveners. I think it's really important to be confident that whether you're struggling with the course or whether you just want to clarify information, you can trust them to help you and guide you throughout the course. And it's very important, particularly with such difficult ways of delivering the courses. During my first semester as a mid-year intake student, I was doing 2 intensive courses, 1 mixed mode course and also a standard mode course. So for me, in the beginning, I did really have to think about how I was going to organise my schedule to make sure that I was able to do the best I could in all of my assessments. The way I approached it in the end was to try and keep on top of my intensive courses and my mixed mode course as much as possible, mainly because the lecture content was available online right from the beginning of semester, and then that made it easier for me to then focus on my standard mode course when assessments for that would come up, because I was able to make sure that I was ahead of my other courses. When I first started with this style of course delivery, I wasn't very confident with how I would do. I was particularly nervous because the content seems like it would get very overwhelming for me. But as the semester progressed, I became a lot more confident with it, especially as I learned how to organise my time to fit around the course requirements for the mixed mode and also the intensive courses. And so by the end of the semester, I found that I was very comfortable with the way everything was set out, and the ability to be able to access all the content throughout the semester, and also the accessibility of the course conveners as well definitely helped with making sure that I was able to feel good about my knowledge and my understanding of what was expected of me going into my assessments. My advice for other students is that the best way to get the most out of these courses is to make sure that you keep up to date with the online lectures, so that at least when you attend the weekly tutorials, you've done the content for that week, and also to try and do as many questions as you can before you actually attend the tutorial, because the course conveners and the lecturers and tutors are really very helpful. If there's anything that you're not sure about, then they're always happy to help, and they're very supportive in my experience. And so the best way to identify what you do need help with is to make sure that you have tried to do some practice prior, so that when you get into the tutorial or even the lab, you can really focus your questions to what you need the most help with. And another important thing is to make sure you do attend the tutorials and the labs. Sometimes the course convener or the tutors might be going over content that you do feel very confident with, but even then it's a great way to reinforce the concepts prior to doing the assessment. And as well as that, it's also a good way, I found, to make sure that you're as comfortable as you can be going into the exams, so that when you do come across a question in the exam, you have a better idea of what kind of information you need to include and what level of depth you need to go into as well, to make sure you can get the maximum marks that you can for that.